Thank you so much. I'm Honorable Michael Katambo, MP for Masaid Parliamentary Constituency, and I'm the Vice Chairperson of the committee. So you are most welcome. Before you start, or before we guide each other how we're going to deliberate, I would like to confer you with immunity, which will protect you under Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, which grants us members of Parliament immunity against prosecution for what we say while in the House. This means that the information also that you are going to give to this committee cannot be used against you or outside Parliament or indeed in any court of law, as long as it is factual. So however, should you deliberately or willfully mislead or misinform the committee, the same law can be used against you in the courts of law. So I have no doubt, National Union for Farmers of Zambia, that you will, however, be so factual and you won't choose to willfully mislead or misinform the committee. So we have 3 bills that you have to give us, that you have to submit, but I would guide that you go into silent issues so that we can manage time. So you may proceed to make your submissions concurrently, and then the members of Parliament will be able to seek clarification or ask questions where need be. So thank you so much. You may make your submission.
Most obliged, Chair. So the way we are going to do it is that I'm going to present 2 bills, namely the Agriculture Marketing Bill and the Agriculture Credit Bill. And then my colleague is going to do the one for Food Reserve Agency. Okay. I've got 2 of these. So,
yes, please, you can go ahead, General Secretary.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm going to start with the Agriculture Credits and Warehouse Receipt Bill. So the agriculture credit market in Zambia is very crucial. However, we have noticed that it is underdeveloped, and it is characterized by disparities in terms of access, high lending rates, and ongoing structural challenges. The sector is dominated by lack of finance for small and medium scale farmers, with most capital flowing to the upper mwambas or the large commercial scale farmers. So some of the challenges that are there, if I can speak in a little bit more detail, there's limited access for smallholder farmers. Mostly they are perceived to be high risky, and that they do not have collateral. The other one is the disproportionate allocation. Like I mentioned before, most of the resources go to the large commercial farmers. The other issue is high interest rates. As you know, I think this is an issue that is across the board, even in other sectors. The interest rates are quite on the higher side. Then there's also the issue of high non-performing loans, meaning that the recoveries definitely are not as good as one would expect. Then market imperfections as well as the gaps. Then also government intervention, and then also, yes. So now, however, we have also noticed that there has been a bit of opportunities, or some opportunities in the recent times, namely financial inclusion through mobile money, innovative schemes where group saving loans are being used, where the group is used to guarantee the loans. Then also policy recommendations, and also World Bank is also supporting through implementation of certain projects like ZATIP. So in summary, while the Zambian agriculture credit market faces significant constraints, there is substantial potential for growth and improvement through targeted policy reforms, private sector incentives, and leveraging of technology to improve financial inclusion for small-scale farmers. The Agriculture Credit and Warehouse Receipt Bill 2025 aims to regulate agriculture credit and warehouse receipt systems in Zambia. The bill promotes efficient agriculture credit systems, ensures proper storage of commodities, and strengthens legal frameworks for warehouse operations and agriculture financing. After going through the proposed bill, we identified the following advantages that will accrue towards small-scale farmers. One, credit access. The bill allows farmers to use warehouse receipts and agriculture charges as collateral to access loans and financial support, enabling them to invest in their farming activities. Improved storage facilities. Licensed warehouses must meet specific standards for infrastructure, equipment, and storage conditions, ensuring better preservation of agriculture commodities. Market access. The establishment of the electronic warehouse receipt system provides a transparent platform for farmers to store and trade their commodities, potentially increasing their market reach and bargaining power. Protection of rights. The bill outlines clear insights and obligations for farmers, including protection against fraudulent practices and ensuring fair treatment in contracts and transactions. Dispute resolutions. Farmers can access mediation services provided by the Warehouse Licensing Authority to resolve disputes efficiently. Insurance cover. Warehouses are required to have insurance, ensuring compensation for farmers in case of damage or loss of stored commodities due to unforeseen events like fire and natural disasters. Transparency. The requirement to register contracts and agriculture charges in the collateral registry ensures transparency and reduces the risk of fraud. On the downside, we also identified the following disadvantages. One, cost of compliance. Farmers may face additional costs for storage, insurance, and other fees associated with using licensed warehouses and accessing credit. We also noticed that there is some complexity in the sense that the process of obtaining warehouse receipts, negotiating contracts, and registering agriculture charges may be complicated for small-scale farmers with limited knowledge on legal and financial systems. Risk of default. If farmers fail to repay loans or meet obligations under contracts, they risk losing their farming stock or assets pledged as collateral. Limited access to licensed warehouses. Small-scale farmers in remote areas may struggle to access certified warehouses, limiting their ability to benefit from the system. Dependence on lenders. Farmers may become overly reliant on lenders, potentially leading to debt accumulation and financial vulnerability. Potential for exploitation. Without proper education and support, small-scale farmers may be at the risk of exploitation by lenders or warehouse operators, especially in negotiating contracts or understanding their rights. All in all, while the bill promotes opportunities for small-scale farmers to access credit, improve storage, and gain market access, its success will depend on effective implementation, farmer education, and equitable access to resources. Without these measures, small-scale farmers may face challenges in navigating the system and bearing the associated costs. So that is our submission for the Agriculture Credit and Warehouse Receipts Bill. I can now go to the Agriculture Marketing Bill. So the bill aims at establishing a framework for regulating and supporting agriculture markets in Zambia. Efficient agriculture markets and trade can encourage agriculture-led economic growth and food security in sub-Saharan Africa. However, efforts to move towards a market-oriented economy are hampered by ineffective policies, weak institutions, and inadequate infrastructure in most countries in sub-Saharan Africa, including Zambia. So Zambia has the potential to become the breadbasket of Southern Africa. This is because of the country's abundant natural resources. So several opportunities exist in other sectors such as oilseeds, soybeans, sunflower, groundnuts, cash crops like cotton, horticultural products, livestock. However, maize-centric policies have led most farmers to allocate more land to maize. Large investment by private companies such as Cargill, Mount Meru, and Zambif offer opportunities for development of more commodity sectors and alternative coordination mechanisms such as contract farming. However, like I mentioned, these opportunities remain underexplored. Challenges and risks. Infrastructure. Poor infrastructure increases transaction costs and creates thin or missing markets, making it difficult for farmers to access markets and finance. Government policy. Interventions such as market distortion, subsidies, and export bans have historically undermined private sector investment, particularly for maize and soybean. Investment obstacles. Proposed farm blocks have struggled to attract foreign investment due to their model and politically influenced locations. Load shedding. Severe and prolonged electricity outages are a major current issue, direct impacting grain milling, crushing activities, and irrigation, which slows down production and can put pressure on supply and prices. Developments and initiatives. Private sector investments. Large private companies are involved, offering opportunities for growth in new commodity sectors through mechanisms like contract farming. Government strategy. The government is working to realign agriculture strategies to national development plans and has introduced tax incentives to promote specific crops like cotton. Technology and information do empower small-scale farmers with market information, skills, and access, particularly for women farmers. The Agriculture Marketing Bill of 2025 is designed to promote efficient agriculture enhancing market access, support private sector growth, and align Zambia's agriculture marketing system with international trade and food security standards. What advantages have we identified for small-scale farmers? Market access, number one. The bill aims to facilitate access to agriculture markets, which can help small-scale farmers sell their products more easily and reach broader markets, including regional and international ones. Competitiveness. By promoting a competitive private sector-driven agriculture market system, small-scale farmers may benefit from better prices and opportunities to compete in the market. Capacity building. The Agriculture Marketing Council is tasked with facilitating capacity building for registered agriculture marketers and market players, which can help small-scale farmers improve their skills and knowledge. Support for small-scale farmers. Intervention measures under the bill are designed to be inclusive of small-scale farmers, women and youth, promoting equitable participation in agriculture markets. Market infrastructure development. The bill emphasizes the development of marketing infrastructure, such as storage facilities and road networks, which can reduce costs and improve efficiency for small-scale farmers. Price stability. The Council will work to reduce price volatility in agriculture markets, which can provide more predictable income for small-scale farmers. Access to information. The Agriculture Marketing Observatory Unit will provide timely and accessible data to provide pricing and trade, helping small-scale farmers make informed decisions. We also looked at the downsides, which can disadvantage the small-scale farmers. Registration requirements. Farmers must register to engage in agriculture marketing, which may involve fees and administrative processes that could be burdensome for some small-scale farmers. Annual marketing levy. The requirement to pay an annual marketing levy for certification validity may pose financial challenges for small-scale farmers with limited resources. Penalties for non-compliance. Failure to register or comply with the Act could result in fines or imprisonment, which may disproportionately affect small-scale farmers who lack awareness on resources to meet the requirements. Potential bureaucratic challenges. The need to submit annual returns, provide information, and comply with codes of conduct may add administrative burdens for small-scale farmers. Risk of exclusion. If intervention measures or regulations are not effectively inclusive, small-scale farmers may face challenges in accessing benefits or competing with large market players. Overall, the bill has the potential to provide significant benefits to small-scale farmers in terms of market access, capacity building, and price stability. Its success, however, will depend on how effective the Council implements the provisions and ensures inclusivity without creating access barriers for small-scale farmers. I submit the two bills, then I can allow my colleague to do the FRI.
Thank you so much, Chair and members of Parliament. First and foremost, from our side as small-scale farmers, we looked at, when we looked at the Bill 2025, we labored so much to look at the Act number 6 of 2020. We tried to look at the comparisons, and among the things that we had to establish from our side is the 2025 bill articulates the functions of food reserve agents in a greater detail. That is from the section 5. You will really appreciate to say that from section 5, it has gone down deep to encompassing management of National Food Strategic Reserve, which is the common debt, reducing market distortions, which was not fully established in the 2020. That is from section 5(2)(a). Then establishing cooperative mechanism with regulatory agencies sections. This has become key because we've realized to say that small-scale farmers cannot work in isolation. It's high time that they were to be encouraged to probably work in a consolidated and well-organized manner. While these functions are addressed in the Food Reserve Act 2020, they are presented in a less comprehensive manner. That is from section 5. We come to the board composition. The 2025 bill defines the board composition to include representatives from ministries of agriculture, finance, commerce, Attorney General's office, Farmers Association, where we are also included as small-scale farmers, knowledgeable private sector individuals. This composition contrasts with the 2020 Act inclusion of representatives from fisheries and livestock. We've realized, Chair, to say that the 2025 bill has omitted a key component of Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, who play a critical role, a critical role in the agriculture sector where the bill is really concerned. Then, again, the other notable thing that we have also indicated, where there is just to probably appoint one knowledgeable from the private sector instead of the two that used to be bringing probably on board, so that at least they can be inclusiveness. We come to community sales. This has been welcomed from our side. A key innovation of 2025 bill is the introduction of community sales, a structured distribution mechanism aimed at increasing access to affordable agricultural commodities for vulnerable groups, especially public institutions, that is Section 2. Chair, this one, we've commended it, and it's a progressive component that has come in. Reason being, we were just coming from the drought, and we know how the drought had hit most of our small-scale farmers, especially in the rural parts of the country, where most of them had some critical challenge. This came in like a critical thing to say that it came in to say that the agents were there to really look into the issues of our colleagues, the small-scale farmers. Designation of commodities. The bill prescribes an annual designation of essential agricultural commodities by the minister at least 60 days prior to 31st October, Section 18. The 2020 Act mandates this designation 60 days before the planting season. So this was noted from the Section 21. Procurement and pricing. The bill introduces a transparent procurement pricing framework requiring market-based benchmark pricing informed by the Agricultural Market Observatory and formal pricing methodology developed with the Agricultural Marketing Council. That is from Section 19 and 9.3. The 2020 Act provides for pricing more generally. So this one has narrowed a little bit, but the other act was quite broad in the way designation of commodities were concerned. Confidentiality and penalties. The confidentiality provisions in 2025 are strengthened with increased penalties for unauthorized disclosure, including fines for up to 500,000 penalty unit or imprisonment of 2 years, Section 13. The 2020 Act imposes lower penalties, Section 2, really 24. This, at least there is some strength that has been added to it. Financial management. The bill broadens financial management powers by explicitly authorizing sources of funds, including loans under the Public Debt Management Act, and detailing permissible expenditures, Section 25. The 2020 Act financial provisions are less explicit in these areas from Section 28. Restricted areas was also one of the issues that we really looked into as a union. The bill empowers the minister to declare storage facilities as restricted areas with enhanced penalties for non-compliance, including fines up to 300,000 penalty units or 3 years imprisonment, Section 30. Though similar provisions exist in 2020 Act, the bill provides heightened enforcement mechanism. So from there we are able to tell to say that at least there is a little bit of advancement in the way it's been presented. Reporting and transparency. The 2025 bill mandates submission of audited annual reports within 90 days of the financial year end, with reports published on the agent's website and in newspapers, Section 28. The 2020 Act includes reporting requirements but with less prescriptive detail. When we looked at it, we had to look at the pros and cons, the positive aspect and the negative aspect with the small-scale farmers. So I'll start with the positive aspects. The bill enhances institutional clarity and operational transparency. That is Section 5, 16 to 20. It equips the agents with powers to stabilize markets and collaborate effectively with relevant bodies, Section 5A and 5.2. The introduction of community sales promotes equitable food access, as I reiterated earlier when we had the drought where the agents came in most of parts of the rural where our farmers had access to the commodity. Strengthened confidentiality provisions safeguard sensitive information. Expand financial mechanism, notably loan Authorization could improve sustainability. The negative aspects. The more detailed regulatory regime may require increased administrative capacity and resources. So to us, yes, while much of it has been given in terms of more detail, we still feel much of the resources might be needed, and the concentration of trying to really concentrate on the small scale farmers might be a little bit less, looking at it that we contribute close to above 95% toward the agency in terms of the commodity as small scale farmers. Harsher penalties for information breaches might hinder open communication if not managed carefully. This also comes in terms of, if we had us as small scale farmers, we have a lot of commodity there. It might be difficult. The agents might not tell us the truth, how much tonnages that they will need to really get from our side. And there are three. The exclusion of fisheries and livestock representative may reduce board inclusiveness. Bill section what? We are also calling to say that I think Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock is a critical ministry that cannot be excluded the way it's been presented. Also, in terms of the two that are probably not by the minister, appointed by the minister, they used to be two, but it's been reduced to one. That is also the concern that we've really noted. The last one. Designation of restricted areas imposes operational constraints requiring prudent oversights. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, those that need clarity or questions or any other concerns. So first things first, Small Scale Farmers Union. You've indicated on the board composition that this composition contrasts the 2020 Act's inclusion of representatives from the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. If you go to the bill itself on interpretation, if you read on the interpretation, yes, paragraph 2, it says agricultural commodity means any cereal, oil seed, stock feed, and other agricultural food product derived from farming. So don't you think maybe when they were looking at this board composition, this is what they had taken into account, other than your concern that this is in contrast with the 2020 Act? One. Two, what would you recommend, you dealing with small-scale farmers, the smallholder farmers, what would you recommend as a minimum amount fee? This is on the Agricultural Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill. What amount would you, or what fee would you recommend for small-scale farmers to benefit from licensed warehouses system under this bill? Yes. And the third one, before I get to the first one, how does the Small Scale Farmers Union, how does the data collected under Part 3 of the Agriculture Marketing Bill, number 33 of 2025, going to safeguard, as the bill seems not to provide any mechanism of safeguarding the data that is collected? And further now, getting to my earlier concern on what you have raised on the exclusion of the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock. If you go further again in the bill itself, yes, on the this is what you said? Oh yes, yeah, on the bill. If you read in the bill number 12, 1, it says a person who intends to engage in agricultural marketing or act as a market player shall apply to the council for registration. This is in connection with the fee that I said about the small scale farmers in the Agricultural Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill. I think you can handle those three, and then maybe members can raise also their issues.
Thank you so much, Chair, for those very, very thought-provoking questions or clarifications. Yeah, so I think in terms of the fees, I think it's very tricky to mention it right away. But I think perhaps maybe they can be neat to kind of carry a survey, so that at least you are able to get the feeling on the ground. Yeah, before you come and determine those fees. Then the issue of information. To us, we perceive information as a very, very critical tool, especially when it comes to planning. Yeah, because I believe that when you are looking at a market that is well structured,
Yes.
it needs to have information on pricing, information on the quantity of goods that are being traded. Because I believe that with such information, it can even prevent issues like flooding the markets. Like, for example, we do see situations at Soweto where tomatoes have been flooded. At the end of the day, the price becomes so bad that farmers, resort to simply, throwing away the product, which, they have spent so much money in terms of producing and also transporting it to the market. So issues of information are very, very critical, and if they can be coordinated in such a way that the farmers have got access to it in real time, I believe it can add a lot of value to the system.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yes, Chair. Thank you so much. Chair, I will handle where you said the inclusion of the board.
Yes.
Chair, when we say the small scale farmers from our side, we are not just talking of people that are just dealing in terms of crops. Yeah, so we are small scale farmers that are doing integrated farming. Others, the same grain that is being produced, it's being used in the industry. And this is operating along the value chain. And we still feel, you already mentioned one of the key things, others, the same grain that is being produced, it's being used for stock feed. So to us, Minister of Fisheries and Livestock becomes a critical partner that needs to be engaged, especially when it's produced, that value is added. We have got farmers who are keeping goats, or others who are keeping cows, who are keeping chickens, poultry, others are into fish farming. It's the same product that is being used, and the value addition is really added to it. So we still feel most of the programs that government does, there are certain programs that we run with government that are supported by that. And to us, the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock becomes a critical component that can have a voice for us when decisions are being made in the board. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think Secretariat has taken note of your submission. Honorable members, being a new bill, this agriculture marketing bill number 33 of 2025, do you think extensive measures have been put into place that the bill will ensure that, or that the bill does not infringe on the rights of individuals, meaning the privacy of individuals? Do you think these measures have been put in place in this agriculture marketing bill?
We feel a lot of measures that do not exist currently have been put there. And what I mean by this is that when you look, or rather when you analyze critically the marketing situation in this country, I think it leaves much to be desired, to an extent whereby I feel it has even discouraged the growth of certain subsectors. A very good example that I can give you is soybean subsector. There was a time, is it some 2-3 years ago, my colleague can guide me properly, who is very, very close to FRA, when FRA, said that, they had enough soybeans in the reserves and could not dispose of it. So they did not see any need of buying new stock. And just by that mere statement, prices plummeted to about 6 kwacha. Maize was even becoming more attractive at that particular time than soybeans. Where are we today? Plus the impact of the drought, we are now producing soybeans, you know, at less than 300,000 metric tons, when we have ever reached a record high of about 700 plus metric tons. I'm sure by now, if prices were to be favorable, we would have even hit the target as per presidential directive of producing 1 million tons of soybeans. So, to answer your question, Chair, we feel this bill is going to bring a lot of sanity to the agriculture marketing situation in this country.
Thank you so much. You have, as small scale, the Union for Small Scale Farmers, identified the opportunities and challenges of the agricultural credits and warehousing bill. Now, are your members, the smallholder farmers, ready to participate on the platform created by ZAMES? You are aware of the ZAMES. Or are they even aware of its existence for trading, your small-scale farmers?
Chair, I think I'll try to attempt part of it and then you finish. Chair, if I look at the warehouse receipt system, I think it has been in existence in this country for quite some time. But when you look at the level of participation of the small-scale farmers, it leaves much to be desired. And one of the reasons that is making the situation to be like the way it is the level of production and also productivity of our small-scale farmers, including myself. When I was looking at the statistics of the survey, is it the grain focus survey, we have now reached a level of productivity as low as 1.68 metric tons per hectare for maize, which is very sad. Because a few years ago, we were saying we were at 2.5 metric tons per hectare. So in other words, it keeps on reducing. So I believe that, you know, one of the most effective ways to bring small-scale farmers on board is to see to it that, you know, their productivity is raised. Because I can give an example. Let's say, for example, you know, I'm producing 20 bags in the whole year. And then somebody tells me that, you know, you can get a loan by depositing your produce into a warehouse. Already, you know, that defeats the purpose. But if I'm producing, let's say, in excess of 200 bags, 250 bags, I can sell 100 and maybe deposit the other 100 and perhaps maybe benefit from the loans that are available. I submit, Mr. Mutari.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we need to come to reality, to say that most of the small-scale farmers that we have are not in the urban areas, are in the rural areas. And let's look at the hectareage and how much that they are producing. And when you look at the ZAMES platform that you really mentioned and try to, yes, Chair, from our side, we've really, we know about it, and we've also shared with our small-scale farmers. But with my colleague, the way he talked about it, productivity. How much is a single farmer producing? And when that single farmer producing, that's why but there was a component that we mentioned to say that the only way we are going to really achieve these as small-scale farmers is when aggregation is put in the forefront or is supported. When farmers, probably the small-scale farmers produce, come together. Otherwise, the platform, yes, it's there, it's very effective, but it doesn't favor much of the small-scale farmers. It much favors the commercial farmers, as I would say, because it's got its own minimum tonnages that you need to take on that platform. Then they also need to bid, but the farmer doesn't have that patience, Chair. A farmer wants to find a well-known market where I can take my 5 bags, right there I'm given back my money, and I'm able to sort out the things that I have on the ground. But the platform will try to look at who's the best bidder, was bidded, and all that. Just that kind of science involved into that. A farmer who's produced less and has got a lot of pressure and want to sort out a lot of problems at home, it defeats its very own purpose that small-scale farmers will definitely participate on that platform. I submit, Chair.
So is it your submission that when these smallholder farmers increase in their yields per hectare, or their production is increased, that is when it is ideal for them to participate on this platform created by ZAMES?
Absolutely, Chair. The whole issue is about productivity. Our productivity among the small-scale farmers in Zambia is very low. And it has got its own, a lot of factors that, when you talk about productivity, it has got a range of factors that affect it. So as it stands, as we are talking, as long as the productivity is very low and their hectareage is quite small, it defeats its purpose for farmers to really think of that platform, especially the process that the platform has. The small-scale farmer might not have enough patience to really wait and do all that thing that is happening. It's the same thing that has happened where farmers are deposited. I'll just give an example. It's not on ZAMES, where farmers had to take their mens with FRA somewhere June, and up to now farmers are still crying to say that we have not yet been paid. Now we are thinking of, suppose it went on the ZAMES platform, it can be the same story. And now what are we trying to really do? Already we have identified productivity becomes the main issue with the farmers. So if farmers can delay for 2-3 months, Chair, without being paid, you can understand the misery that will hit this sector. It will definitely discourage, and farmers now might be looking to say, which other commodity can we really do where we can have a non-market? The moment I produce, I harvest, I take it there, I've already got enough market, and I'll be able to be given. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. The Agricultural Credits and Warehouse Receipts Bill establishes the electronic warehouse receipt system. Your small-scale farmers, who are many in the far-flung areas, in the rural areas, and you are aware that many of our rural parts lack adequate internet coverage, electricity, and digital literacy. Further, without these incentives, do you think your small-scale farmers will be catered very well with this establishment of the electronic warehouse receipt system?
Not quite, Chair. And I think this has been my cry personally, and our cry as small-scale farmers, because where we have reached in terms of advances in terms of technology, what we are saying is that there are so many things that can be done using digital means, including extension services, by the way. It can be done using digital means. We are also talking about different operations that can be done using digital means. But without proper connectivity to the internet, it defeats the whole purpose. Right now, we have gone 100% e-voucher in terms of redeeming inputs under FISIP. And if I'm crying that there's poor internet connectivity, all those things cannot be practical. So one of the issues that we have to lobby for strongly is to see to it that we have got proper internet connectivity. And also, one thing that is also affecting our connectivity, it's power outages. You will find that right now, even me, who perhaps might have a house in an urban setting and a farm in a very, very remote place, I'm having issues with internet connectivity. And part of the reason is because of power outages. I submit.
On the same food reserve bill, reading through the bill, I see that it does not provide mechanisms to improve smallholder access to timely payment, market information, or training on quality standards. You are dealing with these smallholder farmers. What is your reaction?
Yes, Chair. One of the critical subject is when you bring in the grading aspect. The grading aspect, it's interrelated issue because it borders on different issues. One of them is the seed, but we have no direct restriction where farmers will access their seed. So farmers will get their seed from anywhere else. Then how it performs at the end of the day, it goes beyond them. And the moment we take this kind of a seed to probably FRA might either grade it's grade A, grade B, or grade C, but all that aspect, it has not really been given more like in terms of the training aspect or some of the lessons that can be given to farmers. That is technically not there. Then when you come to the payment aspect with where we supply maize as small-scale farmers, it's right now farmers now, the small-scale farmers are opting not to grow maize, but to actually now push us on what crop can we grow which we are going to find a lead-known market. Because we've realized when farmers go for maize becoming a problem in terms of where you know to say that it's a better market, which is FRA, you are not given in terms of money on time. So that now becomes more like a discouragement. Like my colleague mentioned, at one time farmers had to go into soybeans because it was fetching very well. By then it was fetching somewhere 2018, 2019. It was fetching very good price at 18 kwacha. Then the following year, the prices had to drop. Now we are now thinking, with the way farmers are frustrated after depositing their maize with FRA, and up to now there is no payment. So it becomes quite a tricky issue from our side, and it becomes a burden as small-scale farmers. And mind you, Chair, the farmers that we have, this is the source of livelihood. They have got no other alternative sources of income. All their livelihood depends on growing this kind of a crop. So imagine, Chair, I started doing my land preparation in October. I planted in December, January. I harvested in April, post-harvest I did that. Then I took maize in, meaning I've taken the whole year without any source of income. How do you expect a small-scale farmer like me who don't have other source of income to really do that? That's why now farmers now have opted. We are now pushing an agenda to say that instead of just concentrating on this, we might go now probably into an integration. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mteacharo, then Honorable Taengwa, and Honorable Band.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, witness, for your wonderful presentations. Small-scale farmers have remained poor. And if you look at their methods of farming, they have continued to use outdated methods of farming. So don't you really think that the agricultural marketing bill will really help small-scale farmers to graduate from low-income brackets to higher-income brackets? Because for me, it doesn't make any economic sense that you can be using a hoe for 30, 40 years. Our small-scale farmers are not graduating to a higher income. So don't you think that the amendment of the agricultural marketing bill will really give an opportunity to small-scale farmers so that these small-scale farmers can have access to the creative market, especially on the international market? Because it's the big guys from Lusaka who go and buy maize at a very cheap price, and then because then they have got the capacity to export, they make super profits at the expense of the farmer. So don't you really think that the ZAMIS and also is a good platform which can really help to make our small-scale farmers graduate to higher income brackets? I submit.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Taengwa.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson. I just wanted to find out if you go to the bill on part 3. I don't know if you have the bill with you. This is the marketing bill, yes. If you go to part 3, the bill says that there is established in the council the agriculture marketing observatory unit, which shall be responsible for collecting, storing, analyzing and disseminating data and information. You and I know that in 2021 we did actually pass the Data Protection Act of 2021. So how do you think they will be able to synchronize the legislation that will be passed here and the Data Protection Act of 2021? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Banda.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, witness, for the presentation. I just want, based on the submission on the Food Reserve Bill number 33 of 2025, I just want to find out that if this same bill is enacted in its current form, will it solve the operation of necessities by the Zambian Food Reserve Agency?
Yeah, thank you so much. You can take those 3.
Okay. And then my colleague will also chip in. From Honorable Mtachalo, don't we think that the ZAMES platform is going to help grow small-scale farmers? Absolutely, because even in our submission, I think this is one thing that we have talked about, despite the fact that we have also maybe identified a few downsides of the bill. And I also like what you said when you said that, you know, even when export markets have been opened, you will find that it is the people with the muscle who would go and buy maize cheaply from a small-scale farmer like me and sell it expensively in Congo. You can maybe find situations whereby maybe in Congo, maybe a ton is going maybe at $400, but somebody is buying a ton at a very, very giveaway price from a small-scale farmer. So we feel this definitely is going to be an opportunity to even help us small-scale farmers to go into export trade. Then the synchronization of data, that is the data that will be collected with also the other, I've forgotten the other act that you talked about, for data protection. Well, I think depending on how we really manage these systems, because I think, like I mentioned, when Honorable the Chair, you know, had asked about the issues of data, I think I articulated how important, you know, market data is in terms of planning for production. Because what is happening now is that we are more or less into a trial and error kind of approach when it comes to production. I see my neighbor producing broiler chickens, I also go into that. By the time we are harvesting, you'll find that the market is flooded. And then, you know, the prices start what? Start going down. And then we say, farming is a gamble. So it is through such data collections, such data collection, analysis and dissemination that is going to help our farmers plan better for production. Because, I mean, if I've seen that, you know, Soweto is receiving maybe 1,000 boxes of tomatoes every week, why should I go into tomatoes when I can perhaps maybe look at another a product, perhaps which is in a shortfall, and I can probably make a little bit of money? So in terms of how they can be synchronized, I think it also depends on how best, you know, we manage, you know, these systems in the country. Then in terms of operations, the Honorable Banda asked about operations and how they are going to help small-scale farmers in the new bill. Because we have observed that FRA is going to have different sources of raising resources other than the money that is being given to them by the Treasury. a very good example in the current marketing season. FRA was just given about 3 billion. How much debt do they have currently? About 11 billion. Are we saying they are going to go back to the treasury to get money? I don't know. You are the people to guide. But if they can borrow money, if they can be allowed to borrow money or raise additional resources from maybe sales, I'm sure we wouldn't have found ourselves in a situation that we are in currently, where some farmers, you talk to some farmers are saying, us who are around 700, perhaps we'll get our money in January, which really does not help in terms of growing our sector. I submit. Mr. Mta.
Yes, under the last part of the Honorable Banda from Vobwe. Chair, I will start with the communication. Communication is key where FRA is concerned. We need to know as small-scale farmers, this year they are buying to what tonnages, in terms of how many metric tons are they buying. So the communication aspect would be so critical, it needs to be looked into. Maybe first and foremost would say the bill from as a small-scale farmers would say 90% we are okay with much of what has been submitted and what has been put in place. Only this 10% that we are really asking, and one of them is the communication aspect. If we don't know, like last year, like this farming season, where we produced too much, and they had their metric tons where they were supposed to do 550,000 metric tons. And us as small-scale farmers, we have produced 1 million. The rest, where do we take? So those are some of the issues that needs to be done. Then the other thing that we are not just comfortable with is their increased administrative capacity and resources, where they are saying, yes, now the 2025 bill was given more responsibilities, meaning they are calling for more administrative costs. So where is the interest of the small-scale farmers? Because we might find they might increase their base of the administrative, and us now who are taking the means to them, we might not fully be considered. We still feel that needs to be looked into. The other aspect that we really appreciate and I talk about them is when they say the way they have their tentacle way of buying the commodity, not just like along the line of Leo, but even in the typical of the typical, because our farmers are not, our small scale farmers are not just along the line of Leo, are really in the typical areas. So it will be important that this communication aspect, we are still getting back to it, to say that we need to be communicated to. Otherwise, if they just say, no, we are just buying for national strategic reserve, then where do we take the residue? Mind you, we just did as a nation 3.6 plus million metric tons. And FRA has just put 1.6 plus metric tons. The rest is still out there. The private sector has gotten part of it. Other ones are still remaining. Now, if FRA now will restrict itself to say that, and now there is a call and a directive from the president to say that we produce 10 million metric tons, where are we going to sell as the small scale farmers? That's where now the question for Honorable, it's really saying to say that we are working on the only way we are going to really be lucrative as small scale farmers is when we integrate. We work as consolidated in terms of cooperative, not just cooperative to get a fertilizer, but we consolidate ourselves in terms of we aggregate. From a district we aggregate, then we're able to find a non-market. Also, we are not restricted, because also the Minister of Agriculture also comes in to do certain bottlenecks, where there is a restriction to say that, no, you need to get these permits, or no, these other commodities have been restricted, they can't go out of the country. So those are some of the things, but otherwise, as the bill as it stands, it's okay from our side, because certain things has been done. We just hope that that 10% can be refined and it will be okay from our side. Thank you, Chair. I submit.
Thank you very much. Any other concerns? Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you very much, Witness. I want to speak for a small-scale farmer. When you get FISIP, you are subsidized. When you sell, you probably again are subsidized because of the good price that is being given by FRA. Now that FRA could only probably buy for food security, and here we have about 1,034,000 farmers who benefit from FISIP, and the bonding arrangement for FRA could only be about 10 bags per farmer, which does not translate into the total produce. Where do you think this farmer is going to sell, taking in mind that the other buyer was buying at a higher price, and predominantly the private buyers are buying at a very lower price? Now, don't you think this is what has made most of the farmers to run away from producing maize and later on affecting the national food security? The second one is, in as much as we are talking about the increase in terms of per hectare yield, when you look at the farmers themselves, predominantly we have concentrated on the marketing side of our produce than on the production side. The education on the production side is very minimal because most of the institutions that were propagating an agenda of increased yield have been destroyed. I take in mind like Golden Valley Research Trust, Cotton Development Trust. ZARI has been limited in arrangements in many things that they are trying to do, basically trying to reduce the voter education to the farmers, and hence they reduced based on the statistic that you have indicated that 2 years ago we were somewhere between 2.5 and now we are about 1.9. The reason being that we are not doing much science to the farmers. If we were doing like we were doing, if you remember very well, there was conservation farming unit, and this alone was teaching minimum tillage, which was helping the farmers. Now, don't you think that as small-scale farmers association would do better as well to go back to the farmers now to consider the husbandry that is going to help them to maximize production per hectare? I submit, Chair.
Yes, you can quickly take those two.
So let me start with the last one, since that is my cup of tea, then you can answer the FRA one. Yeah, so indeed, Honorable Member,
yes.
Sure. What you have highlighted is extremely correct. You will find that even organizations now who are promising to bring in technologies that have got the potential to turn around the potential yield of most of these cereals, are now more interested or inclined to do advocacy campaigns than the actual farmer education on the ground. I say this with the mind of practices such as agroecology and regenerative farming, which concentrate on building the soil, other than some of these practices like conventional farming, which in most cases deplete the soil and also to a greater extent increase the levels of acidity in the soil. But you find that they are able to encourage things like crop rotation, returning plant residues, and so on and so forth. But however, like I've said, they have concentrated on the advocacy aspect, trying to challenge certain laws like the PBR. Sorry to mention that. Instead of, getting down to us small-scale farmers, so that, we are able to learn to say, okay, fine and good. If we are going to leave maybe your piece of land in fallow for this period of time, you find that the soil is going to regenerate, and if you are going to plant in the subsequent year, you are going to find that there will be an improvement in terms of your yields. In terms of what we can do, we have got the interest, honorable members, to reach out as much as we can, but we are constrained by resources. And the other thing also is that we are just an upcoming institution that was formed just about 10 years ago. And you find that most of the donors, they don't want, to fund you in terms of capacity building yourself. Okay? It was just recent that we were lucky we had a certain cooperating partners from Germany who was able to give us a little bit of some funding to simply, build the capacity of our branches. But in terms of, going into operations such as, educating our farmers into things like regenerative farming and so on and so forth, we are really in a struggle, to find such resources. But otherwise, if we are to be given an opportunity, even now, we can go flat out and educate our farmers so that, we are able to improve our yields. Because when we improve our yields, we know that, definitely that is going to strengthen our farmers, that is going to uplift them from the poverty that they are engulfed in, and make them even much more stronger than they are currently. I submit.
Just a quick one. Just to add on my colleague what he has said, we collaborate with government, and government we collaborate them through the DACO's office and the extension officers. But honorable members, I wish to let you know to say that one extension office is able to service about 500 small-scale farmers, which is not possible because the numbers are just too high. And these extension officers, they don't even have means of movements around. So that becomes a serious constraint. I just wanted to add on that one. Then the first one where honorable member mentioned, we are now eating close to 5 million as small-scale farmers in Zambia, actually going even beyond that statistics. So when you look at a number that just benefits on FISIP, it's about 1.1 million farmers. Now you can imagine just 1.1 is able to produce that. Then we've also got these other ones. That's why in the first place I mentioned most of these small-scale farmers that we're talking about are in the rural areas. And they are producing. So when they produce, sometimes that's why we're taken advantage of, because we don't have a known market. And these markets that always people talk about to say an international market, it's not easy as a small-scale farmer to access it. It's easy on paper, because when you bring in Ministry of Commerce, it will tell you procedures of what to do. When you go to Ministry of Agriculture through agribusiness, they will tell you certain platforms where to really get the permits. You need to get your grain to PQPS to do the grading and all that. The Bureau of Standard needs to come in. So now imagine, let's give it an example. I'm a small-scale farmer in Kaputa. I wanted to give an example of my honorable member here. In Magoe, we've done a project there in Magoe just after the junction down there, 75 kilometers. I've got about 100 bags. Then I want to sell those bags to Malawi. For me, I need to bring them back to Lusaka for the grading with Zari. And I need to go to PQPS. Then they do that. Then I need to get permits from agribusiness. Then later on, I need to organize transport. How much am I putting in? Then again, I need to notice whether there are restrictions or not. So these talked about international market, it's easy on paper, but it's not easy practically. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. In our deliberations, we were joined by the chairman of the committee, Honorable Michelo. So just for your information, your collaboration with government is very commendable. It is important that you reach out to all of your small-scale farmers as National Union for Small-Scale Farmers of Zambia, because government obviously is providing these incentives for your smallholder farmers, mechanized equipment through FISIP, there are grants, loans, SAF, FISIP, there's this modern agriculture technology and good modern agriculture practices for farmers to increase their yields, extension officers in their various farmer training centers in educating farmers on good agricultural practices. Indeed, as a country, there is need in the agriculture sector that your small-scale farmers relegate a hoy to a museum. Your concluding remarks, witness.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you so much for this opportunity that you you gave us. We actually look forward to more of these opportunities in seeing to it that, you know, we are able to shape the trajectory of this sector. And also the other thing that I would also want to recommend, I think the government through the Ministry of Agriculture, is that particularly for these 3 bills, there has been a lot of extensive consultations even before they went to Ministry of Justice. They consulted us widely and were able to to contribute our input even at that level. I believe that, you know, this is the best way to come up, you know, with legislation that is going to speak to some of the challenges that we are facing in this country. Otherwise, all in all, we are very, very grateful for having invited us to this committee, and we are also very, very grateful for the very, very thought-provoking clarifications that you have raised. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, witness, I had conferred you with Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, which had granted you immunity. Allow me at this juncture now to remove the immunity that I had conferred upon you, so that you remain as National Union for Small-Scale Farmers of Zambia. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for still being with us on Parliament Television. We've just been listening or watching the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, and they are considering 3 bills. And the first bill is the Agriculture Marketing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2025. The other one is the Food Reserve Agents Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2025. And also did hear and see the just previous witness making submission on the Agriculture Marketing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2025. And the witness was the National Union for Small-Scale Farmers of Zambia. We still have one more witness to appear before this committee, and this is the Food Reserve Agency of FRA. So on the other side, once these witnesses are ready, we'll be able to cross back to the committee for the continuation of receiving submissions from various stakeholders. And I do have Chola Kauma as my sign language interpreter. Earlier on I was with Jason Manda. My name is Paulson Tindov. We'll take a break, and once we're done, we'll cross back to the committee for resumption of the consideration of these 3 bills.